Blood pressure regulation in our bodies is like a Formula One race. One wrong move at 200 miles per hour could spell disaster. But somehow, our internal systems manage this high stakes balancing act every second of every day.
That's such an interesting way to think about it. How exactly does our body maintain that kind of precision?
Well, it's all thanks to these incredible sensors called baroreceptors. Think of them as the world's most sophisticated track marshals. They're strategically positioned in two key locations: the carotid sinus in your neck and the aortic arch in your chest.
Hmm. And I'm guessing their placement isn't random?
Not at all. These spots are crucial checkpoints where pressure changes need to be detected immediately. The carotid sinus monitors blood flow to your brain, that kind of important organ we need for everything, while the aortic arch watches the main arterial highway.
So, what happens when these sensors detect something's off?
That's where it gets really interesting. They've got their own exclusive communication channels. The carotid sinus uses cranial nerve 9, and the aortic arch uses cranial nerve 10, the vagus nerve. It's like having a direct hotline to mission control.
And I'm assuming mission control in this case is somewhere in the brain?
Exactly. It's an area in the brainstem called the nucleus tractus solitarius, the NTS. Think of it as the ultimate pit boss, coordinating every response to keep your blood pressure perfect.
Well, that makes me wonder, how quickly can this system respond when there's a problem?
You know what's amazing about that? We're talking milliseconds here. When those arterial walls start stretching from high pressure, these baroreceptors fire off signals faster than you can blink, and the response is incredibly sophisticated.
How so?
Well, it's like having two separate crews working in perfect sync. The parasympathetic system acts as the brakes, while the sympathetic system eases off the accelerator. Both responses happen simultaneously to bring that pressure down smoothly.
That's fascinating. But what's actually happening at a chemical level?
So here's where it gets really cool. The vagus nerve releases this neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, or ACE. When it binds to specific M2 receptors in your heart's natural pacemaker, it literally slows down your heart rate. Meanwhile, the sympathetic system reduces norepinephrine. Think of it as cutting the nitro boost.
And I'm guessing this affects more than just heart rate?
Oh, you know it. The blood vessels themselves actually change size. When norepinephrine levels drop, the vessels dilate, like widening the racetrack. More space means less pressure, just like how water pressure drops when you open up a garden hose nozzle.
That's such an elegant system. But what happens if something goes wrong?
That's where things can get dangerous. If baroreceptors become less sensitive, which often happens with chronic high blood pressure, it's like having faulty sensors. Your body starts thinking higher pressures are normal, creating this dangerous new normal that can damage organs over time.
So, how can we help maintain this system? Are there things we can do to keep it running optimally?
Regular exercise is actually one of the best ways. It helps maintain blood vessel elasticity and keeps those baroreceptors sensitive. Think of it like keeping your race car in top condition through regular maintenance.
That makes sense. What about other lifestyle factors?
Diet plays a huge role, especially watching sodium intake. Managing stress is crucial too, because chronic stress is basically like constantly redlining your engine. And don't forget about sleep. That's when your cardiovascular system gets its essential maintenance time.
You know, this whole racing analogy has really helped me understand this complex system better.
That's exactly why I love thinking about it this way. When you understand these mechanisms, you start to appreciate why those healthy habits your doctor always talks about are so important. It's not just about following rules, it's about supporting this incredibly sophisticated system that's keeping us alive.
Well, I'll certainly think differently next time I get my blood pressure checked.
Just remember, your body's running its own Grand Prix every single day, and those baroreceptors are the unsung heroes keeping you on track. Now, that's what I call a winning team learning